want to master array in C++, in this video I will make sure that you can learn array in very super simple way with practical examples. So let's get started. So what are arrays? So arrays are a collection of elements stored in a contiguous memory location. So elements can be accessed using indexes. How? Then I will make sure that each concept will be clear. So let's play. So I'm making basically fresh code snippet for C++, and I'm using C++ language for that. And this is the syntax. If you want to write a C++ code, then you have to use all those things. So what are arrays? So arrays are data structures, and data is stored at a continuous memory allocation. So this is how an array is declared. Like if you want to declare an array of size 5, then this is how array can be declared. So let's see its syntaxes. So for ARR, you have to write this, and this square shaped brackets you have to use for declaring an array, and you can just simply write what are the elements, and these elements must be of the same data type that you have written over there. Like int, you can store only int type of data is here, and all the data are stored in a index based. So this 1 is stored at 0th index, this 2 is stored at first index, then second, then third, then fourth indexes. These are all stored. Got it? So how to print an array? Okay, so you can just print using this statement at ARR of 0. Okay, and then you have just copy paste the same thing for each indexes. So for 1, for 2, for 3, and then for 4. Okay, and just print. So you can clearly see you can print each element of the array. Okay, so I am repeating something always. So can I do with loops? Yes, it can be done. So you can use any kind of loop for that reason. So I am starting I with 0, and then I will less than the size of array, and which is 5 here, and I plus plus. Okay, if you want for a generalized array, then you can write arr.size or arr.length. Both will work, and you have to just print each element. How do you print? Using arr of I. And just if you want to give some spaces, then you can do all those stuffs. And why it is not working? Okay, arr.size. Okay, let's see arr.size. So let's see for less than 5. Is it working? Yeah, it is working. And let's see if I use this thing and then just write size, it will be working fine. Okay, so you can see it is working. Okay, so you can basically print how to print an array. Okay, or if you want to take an input, this is already predefined input, then how do you take an input and then print it out? Same thing, just copy it and just paste it over, and just taking your input here, cin. Okay, so this is how you can take an input. Okay, and just assuming let's say 5 size. Okay, so let's execute this code. Let the first element is 1. Yeah, let's say 10. The second element is 20, then the third element is 30, then fourth element is 40, and then fifth element is 50. Yes, it is working. The 10, 20, 30, and 40 and 50 are printing over there. So this is how you can take input and output from an array. So let's move forward and solve some interviews question that can be asked in any interview of DS round. So let's get started. First question is that double the array. You have to basically double the size. No, you don't have to double the size. You have to just double each element. Like 1 is double, 2 is double, 3 is double, 1 is now here 2, then 4, then 6, and you can see these all test cases both explain the same thing that I have explained it to you. Let's move and just solve this question. So if for example ARR is given that 10, 20 and then 30, you have to print the doubled value. So let's say the size is equal to 3, got it, and you have to double. So make a function double array and send arrays and its size. Okay, and let's make this function here. Okay, so I'm making a void function that will return nothing, and I'm also sending the size of the array. So I'm traversing the array and then I will doubling each of these elements, got it. So int I is equal to 0, I less than the size of the array, and the I will be incremented by +1, and ARR of I should be equals to 2 multiplied by ARR of I. So that's how each element of the array is doubled, got it. So this will do okay. So let's play and just print the array. This is for printing. So let's execute. Okay, let's see, the size is 3, let's say, and size is 5, redefinition of size. Okay, where is 5? Okay, so I was using it again. That's why this was giving some error. Yeah, it is working fine. 20, 40 and then 60. So let's make a generalize for that. Let's say the size, and let's execute it again. It is working fine. So let's do with this test case 0, -1 and 3, 0, -1 and 3. So let's play 0, -2 and 6, 0, -2 and 6, and let's make for this also 2, 4 and 6, 2, 4 and 6, and let's 4, 8 and 12, 4, 8 and 12. It is working fine for both the test cases. So let's understand this question again so that each one of you can understand. This is the function that I want to make for doubling the each element of this array. So how we are doing, we are just traversing the whole array, and for each element I am doing the task. What is the task? Doubling each element. How to do? 2 multiply by size of 2 multiply by ARR of I. ARR of I is basically each element of the array. Okay, so I'm doubling it and storing in the ARR of I. So that's how it is working. So let's move forward with another problem, and I'm commenting all the things. Got it. So let's move forward for another problem. So this is a linear search. So what it is, so let's read the problem statement and visualize how to solve this problem. So you have to find the target position of in an array. Okay, so you have given an array 20, 10, 20 and 30, and your target is 20. So you have to just find it out that this element is present or not. First thing you have to just do this. So is 20 is present? Yes, it is present. Let's move forward for this problem. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and target is 4. Is 4 present? Yes, it is present at fourth element. How fourth? 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, is 15 present? Yes, it is present at the second element. Okay, so this is how you will just find it out that this target element is present or not. So for that reason you have to make an array first. Let's say 1, 2, 3 and 4, and let's say your size of the array is equal to 4 and your target is equal to, let's say, 3, and you have to apply a linear search for that reason, and you are passing the array, the size of the array and the target. that's how you have to do all those stuffs, and you have to make this function. I'm making a non-void function which is bool. So it will just tell me that yes it is present or yes it is not. So let's make an array. Why I'm making, so most of the boolean function return 1 or 0, so it will basically give an idea that is this element present or not. Okay, and the size, and your task is to find the index also. Okay, so for that reason, what should be my approach? So my approach should be just the previous one, like I have to just traverse the whole array. How to traverse an array? Using any kind of loop, you can just traverse it. Okay, I'm using for loop for that reason, and I'm making something called, okay, and you have to find out if the element is present or not. If the element is present, so if ARR of I is equal to target, then you have just return true. It means that if the element is present, then it will return 1, else else 0. So else 0 or return 0. Yeah, return false, it is the same thing. So that's how the whole code is working. So let's play and just execute this code. So okay, so it is printing 1. Why 1? Because 1 is present in this array. Target 3 is present. Let's see for 36, is it present or not? So if the answer is 0, then our code is working fine, and if it is printing 1, then our code has some logical error. So it is printing 0, absolutely fine. Why? Because 36 is not present in the array. So let's do for this cases 10, 20 and 30. So 10, 20 and 30, 10, 20 and then 30, and your target is to find is 20 present in this array or not. So this is your target. So you can make this code more good if you do this kind of stuffs. Okay, and if it is true, then you have to just write it out, present, yeah, element present. Okay, okay, so that's how you have to element spelling is wrong, so let's play this code. Element is present. Okay, so that's how you can do all those stuffs. So let's move forward with another problem, and this is not a perfect answer of this question. There's a homework, and the homework is that you don't have to write this thing, element present or not present. You have to just return the index also. You don't have to just return that this element is present or not. So what you should do, I'm just giving some hint. You have to make this boolean function into a int returning function, so that this will return the index, and you have to store that index, and then you have to print it out. How do you do? This is your homework, this is your task. Go do some chat gpt or just brainstorm. Got it? Next problem number 3. Okay, so this is it is different and very different kind of problem. What it is, let's read the statement. You have to count the number of zeros and ones in a binary array. So first thing, we have to understand what is the binary array, and then you have to count the number of zeros and ones in that binary array. Okay, so this is the binary array. So in any binary array, only two elements can be found. Either it may be 0 or it may be 1. Another, no elements will be either 0 or 1 or behind all those things. Means only 1 and zeros are present in that array. Nothing will be stored. Okay, else 0 or 1. Got it? So you have to find out how many zeros and how many ones. So here in this case, 2 zeros and 1 and 2 ones. So number of zeros is 2 and number of ones is also 2. So you have to find it out, and this case is 3 zeros, okay, and 1 1, okay. And in this case all zeros are 0 and all the elements are of size 4. So let's make a binary array. Let's see. I'm making this kind of thing, 0 0 and 1 1, okay. And the size of the array is 4. And okay, and you have to count 0 1. This is the name of the function, and I'm sending the size. So what should be the approach? Okay, so I'm making this function, and I'm making a void function for that reason, okay. For that reason I have to basically traverse the whole array using a for loop, and I will store something, that I'm storing a 0 variable or 1 variable data, and if this element is found or present, then I have to just increment it out. So that's the approach. Let's make it more simple for you. So let's making a 0 and initialize with 0, and I'm having 1 which is initialized also with 0, and I have to traverse the whole array. And if I found that the current element is 0, then I will increment this 0 variable with 1, and if this element is equal to 1, then I have to increment this 1 by plus 1. Got it? So I have to basically traverse the whole array, and while traversing the array I have to make sure that each element, if this condition is true, then I have to increment this 0 by plus 1, okay. And else if ARR of I is equal to 1, then I have to increment 1 by 1 plus 1, okay. So that's how I want to just first okay. So let's see, and after that I have to print the value of zeros and ones, okay. So the number zeros are so let's play. So the number of zeros are 2. Yes, it is true, and the number of 1 is also true. So this is working. I will explain this code line by line again, but I want to just test it out, that is this code is perfectly fine or not. So let's, okay, so let's do for another test case, like all the elements if equal to 1, then is it working fine or not. Okay, so the answer should be 0 is equal to 0 and 1 should be equals to 4. It is working fine, and for this test cases 0 0 0 and 1, then 0 0 0 and then 1. For that reason, is it working or not? So yes, it is working fine, absolutely fine, that the number of zeros are 3 here, 1 2 and 3 zeros, and for 1 this is only a single element which is 1. So let's dry run this code again so that each one of you can understand. So here, what is the approach? My approach is I have two variables, initialized by 0, and the name of the variable is 0. And what I have to store in the 0 variable, I have to count number of counts, how many counts of zeros are present. So that's the reason I'm storing this thing. And for 1, I'm using this 1 variable, and initially both the variables having 0 elements, and I have to traverse the whole array, okay, using this for loop. And if I found that if ARR of I is equal to 0, then I have to increment the value of 0 by 1. Else, if the index, if the ARR of I is equal to 1, then if 1 is present at that index, then I have to increment the 1 by 1, okay. So that's how I'm doing. You can do this also for that reason. If you want that the code should be just shorter, then you can do this kind of thing also. Same thing, and it will be working absolutely fine. Got it? So let's move forward with another problem. So okay, you have to find the minimum number in an array. Okay, so your task is to find the minimum number. So find the smallest number in the array. Okay, so the example is very clear. Input is equal to 3, 1, 4 and 2, and your task is to find the minimum number. Okay, so the answer is 1. So how 1? Because 1 is the smallest. Is 1 is smaller than this? Yes. Is 1 is smaller than this one? No, it is equal. Okay, and 1 is smaller than this 4 and also 2. Okay, and here you can clearly see that 3 is the minimum. Okay, so that's why the answer is 3, and here -5 is the smallest. So let's do. So I am making an array of let's say size 3, and let's be a very simple first, and then we will complicate the test cases. Okay, so let's make the elements are 1, 2 and 3, and the size of the array is very simple. Here what it is 3, and you have to find the minimum number, and you have to just pass the array and the size of the array. Okay, so let's make this function, and I'm using a void function for that reason. Void this number. Most of the time I'm using void function always. Okay, so what is the approach? So in the previous problem, I've created a variable, and I've stored that is the value is equal to 0 or 1. So in this problem, I have to do the same thing. That let's say I have created a variable called mini, and my task is to store the minimum number which is stored in that array. So how do I find? So let's first traverse the whole array. So how do we traverse? Using any loop. So I'm using for loop for that reason, and then I plus plus, and if, or I have more sort of a trick to solve this problem. The mini should be equals to min of ARR of I comma mini. Okay, so let's see is it working or not. It is a trick, but I will explain each and every part. So if we print out this mini, the minimum number is 0. Okay, but it is not the answer. Okay, if I initialize with the first index, let's say, then let's see what is the value. Okay, the answer is correct. So let's see for another test case, then I will explain each and every part. Let's 3 1 4 and 2, 3 1 4 2. Okay, for that reason is it working? 3 4 1 comma 2. Okay, so no, it will be not working because the size of the array is 4 here. So yeah, it is still working. And let's say for this test cases 7 3 and 9, 7 3 and 9 for that 1. Okay, sorry, yeah, it is true. And for the last negative -1 -5 and 0, -1 -5 and 0, so answer should be -5. So is it? Yeah, it is true. So basically what I am doing, so basically my approach is very simple. My approach is that I have created a variable, and this variable is initialized with the first index of an array. So in every case the first element is stored in the mini, so whether the first index is equal to 3 or 7 or -1. So in this examples, the first element, the mini variable is having 3 -7 and -1. Okay, so I'm traversing the whole array, and this min will basically do that if you give just two numbers, it will return the minimum number. So for example, if I commented out both the test case, both the code, and if I find min of 1 comma 2, then it will definitely be giving 1, or let's say this is 2 2 and this is this, so this will be giving this value because it is bigger than this. Okay, so this is, let's say, 23 and this is 2 2. Okay, so it is not working. Why? So let's make two variables for better understanding. Let's say the first variable is 8 and the another variable, let's say, is 45. So you have to print out min of a comma b. Okay, so what is printing? So it will be printing okay, so let's say you have to first store the value in min a comma b, and just print out the answer. So answer is 8. Got it. So basically what exactly min is doing, it will just return the minimum value, and similarly the another thing is max. So how it is working, so it will return the maximum number. So I'm just doing that, I'm returning the minimum value from first index to the last, and after the last index it will find the minimum number from that array. So you can just do for maximum also, just you have to change the name minimum to maximum, and then you have to just store maxi here, and maxi should be here max and maxi, and just you have to find it out. Just copy this code and just comment it out, and then uncomment this code and just print out. For next line I'm using it null. So yeah, minimum number is -5 and the maximum number is 0. Is it working or not? So yes, -5 is the minimum and 0 is the -5 is the minimum and 0 is the highest. So you can see it. So let's move forward with another problem, and I think it is the last problem of our today's session. So you have to reverse an array. Okay, so how to reverse an array? So first I have to explain the problem statement. So reverse the order of element in an array. So you don't have to reverse the whole array, you have to do that, but in this case you have to reverse the order of elements in an array. Okay, so basically 1 2 3 is now become 3 2 1. So 1 is, the order of 1 is changed with the last, the 2 is now here fixed at the same position, and 3 is here, and 1 3 5 is Now 5, 3 and 1, 0 minus 1 and 2 becomes 2 minus 1 and 0. So let's make it out. Let's see. Let's say 1, 2 and 3, the test case, and the size of the element is 3, and you have to make a function reverse array. So I'm creating a void function. Okay. So what should be the approach to do this thing? So basically my approach is quite different from all the question that I have solved here. The approach is very different because I want to reverse it. So basically I'm creating two variables. Okay, so first I'm creating, then I will explain it to you. First variable name is start, which is the basically the zeroth index or the first element of the array, and I'm creating an end. And what should be the index? It should be size minus 1. So basically if the array is starting, if array of size n, then the first element is 0, then the second index is 1, then 2, then 3. It will go up to n minus 1 size. Okay, so that's how, if start is equal to 0, then the end should be equal to size minus 1. Here n, so size minus 1. Okay, so that's why I'm using not size, I'm using size minus 1. So that's how. So these are the, this kind of approach is called two pointer approach, and it is very famous. If you can solve a lots of problem in the same in the same kind of things, like print extremes of an array or so on. So first thing, you have start variable and you have end variable. Okay, so what you have to do is, you have to, the start variable is pointing to this element and the end variable is pointing to this 3. Okay, so you have to just swap it. This 3 here is now here, and this 1 is goes here, and the 2 is swapping with itself. So 2 becomes 2. So you have to make in such a way, and so that's the reason you have to do this. So while start is less than n, you have to just do swapping. SWAP swap ARR of start to ARR of end. So this is how you have to do, and I will explain why I'm using this while loop. And first you have to understand this part. I'm swapping the first index with the last index, then I'm moving the start to next pointer to the next element of the array, and I'm moving this end to basically the backward position. So that's the reason that start is plus plus and then end should be minus minus. Okay, so this is how you can do all those stuffs. So reverse an array, so start and this is the end. So while start is less than end, you have to swap the start and then end. And you have to just, if I create some more complex test cases, then it will be more clear for you to understand. And let's first print, is it working fine, or I'm just creating stuffs and these are not working. So I'm printing the array. Okay, so yeah, it is working fine. So let's understand again. So what I'm doing here, so I'm creating two variables. Okay, the name of the first variable is start, which is pointing to the first index. Okay, and I've created another variable which is end, which is pointing to the last index of the array. Okay, if start is less than end, so why I'm doing this? So if start goes beyond the end, so no logic for that. Your start should be always be less than the end. Okay, And after that you have to just dry run on your copy and pen, then you can understand more clearly why I'm using this. You have to do, and you have to first swap the start, and you have to move the start pointer to forward and keep the ba- end to backward. So that's how you have to just dry run with your copy and pen, then you can easily get why I'm doing all those stuffs. So that's how this code is working. Let's see for this test case 1 2 and 3, and then 3. So is it working or not? 3 to 1, it is working fine. Let's 1 3 and 5. 1 3 and 5, is it working? 5 3 1, got it. It's worked perfectly fine. And for the last, I have to make sure that 0 minus 1, and then for 2, so 1 minus 1 and 2 minus 1 and 0, it is perfectly fine. So let's move forward if we have another problem. So this is, I have explained it to you all the 5 questions. So next step for you is to guys perform some more questions that are more advanced problem, like sorting algorithm. You have bubble sort and insertion sort and more sorting algorithms, and you have to practice more two pointers approach problem and sliding window. So thanks for watching this video till end. Goodbye.